Here we are, and welcome to Two Shots. I am Jason with my partner in crime, Mike.
Hey, this is Mike. Hey, hey.
So, we always start off the show with our shots. So, my first shout out is to the late, great Kurt Cobain. I know it's a little late, but I mean, he would have been 56 last month. So,
Also, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you would have heard us do this shot already. So this is a second shot in honor of Kurt Cobain.
this is the free show.
This is the free show for our casual subscribers.
Shout out. Oh, yeah.
And Jason, what did you drink? What was your shot?
So my shot of choice is, I'm getting it ready, is this lovely bottle of Terramano with the whiskey barrel edition. So
Excellent.
The Rock gets a free plug.
Nice. And why are we toasting Kurt Cobain today, Jason?
Because, well, on the premium show, when we did it 2 weeks ago, it was, we were just shy of his birthday, and the passing, he would have been 56. So that's why I had to give the shout out to him, because even though he's gone, and never be forgotten.
Yep. And Jason is a huge fan of Nirvana, in spite of his metal leanings, which is very interesting. I will bring that up later on in our podcast. I think
Yes.
that'll be important, because it's important to understand that we do have eclectic and diverse musical tastes.
Absolutely, because we have so much to talk about when it comes to the difference in metal and rock that we share.
Yes.
So
Now it's my turn. In honor of one of two friend of the podcast, Fear Factory. They are totally our friends.
absolutely,
We have been huge Fear Factory fans our entire lives, and I would like to give a shout out to Burton C. Bell, who is the former singer of Fear Factory, and he's fantastic. He's awesome. He made that band what it is today. I would like to give a shout out to Burton C. Bell, who has a fine art career down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He has an art exhibit on right now. He's currently not singing in Fear Factory, which is something we are going to talk about today. So here's to you, BCB.
BCB, shout out.
BCB.
Oh yeah,
The dry lung vocal martyr. That's what it said in the liner notes of the manufacturer. Back when I was a wee lad. I am also drinking Hendrick's gin.
yeah.
The finest of all the gins that you really got to be a gin fan if you're going to like that shit.
I'm surprised you haven't gone with the what is it, the aviation?
Aviation?
Yeah.
The Ryan Reynolds gin?
Yeah.
Actually, I had a little bit of that last night. It was pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, not bad.
I'm not much of a gin person, but
Yeah, you got to be a gin fan.
okay,
I
all
love
right.
gin.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So today, I think we're going to
episode-
have, in this episode of Two Shots Podcast, this is going to be the concert extravaganza, and we're going to say that it's that because I've been to about 300 shows in the last 3 weeks. And I would like to talk about these with Jason to make sure he's fully up to speed on all of my gallivanting, because it's called, DINK. That's dual income, no kids. So I can go out and do such things.
because he's got it like that.
So I went to a whole bunch of concerts recently, and it's an eclectic mix of stuff, mostly metal, but not all metal.
There's really only one that I know about that I need to hear about. He's going to talk about the other ones.
I'm going to talk about some other ones, but there's one that he wants to hear about for sure. And
Absolutely.
also, along with our podcast, I'm going to throw up some footage in our YouTube channel so you can see just what the hell I'm talking about with a lot of this stuff.
Make sure you hound him. Make sure you hound him so he gets it
That's
done.
right. Post a message in the comments below if you want to see me do my fucking job and put stuff on our YouTube channel. So the first one I want to talk about actually coincides with what I said about Nirvana, and that we have very eclectic tastes. The first concert I want to talk about is a band called They Might Be Giants, which is a band you probably did not expect me to talk about on a show primarily dedicated to metal. This band put an album out in 1990. I was 10 years old. I was a wee lad, and 2 songs from that album made it into a show called Tiny Toon Adventures, which was a little
remember Tiny
cartoon made
Toons.
by Warner Brothers.
Yep.
That was like a kind of a pre. So a lot of people really liked Animaniacs, but Tiny Toon Adventures came out before then. I was more of a Tiny Toon fan than an Animaniacs fan. But they made, in one episode, they had 2 They Might Be Giants songs, and they made videos for them. And that was Istanbul, Not Constantinople, which is actually a cover song. A lot of people don't know that.
Didn't know that.
Yep. And the other one was Particle Man, which was a classic song. So as a child, I really liked this stuff. I was a little kid. I actually, at this point, I had already started listening to metal, but I was like, oh, this stuff is fun. And I recognized it. And I had this one friend that was really into just awful alternative rock music.
Still
and most
is.
of the stuff he listened to was pure awful feces. It was total dog shit, I hate to say.
It was. Shout out Todd.
Shout out to our friend Todd, who liked a lot of really bad music. But he also liked a lot of good music, too. And one of the bands he did like was They Might Be Giants. So I ended up getting that CD, and I was like, I really like all the songs on here, despite the fact that it has nothing to do with metal. It is not metal in the slightest. But I really like this album, Flood.
It's hella weak music, just for our audience. It's comedy.
Yeah.
It's comedy, but it's very, very weak rock. I don't
it's
even know if you can put it in rock category.
It's alt rock. It's like alternative rock music and really alternative too.
Yeah.
They have horns, but it's not like ska, and like a lot of like accordions and all kinds of weird shit in there. But back when Flood came out, I really enjoyed it, and it was weird because I would talk to all these friends that like death metal, and they all actually seem to have this album also, like in their collection somewhere, and I cannot fucking explain it in the slightest. But Flood seemed to be a staple in almost every death metal fan's collection, and it has it's not metal at all, nothing to do with it.
It's gotta be the comedic factor of it.
I think the songs are really catchy, like they get stuck in your head real well. So They Might Be Giants went on tour, and the tour is really cool because it was like a tribute to Flood. They played every song from Flood intermingled with all their other songs, and they did 2 sets. It was a long concert, and the band was amazing. They were studio quality. They interacted with the audience. It was a really, really good show. I like just about everything live, but this happened to be really good. I want to say beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you are a fan at all of this, which is probably not too many of you guys out there, I'm happy to recommend this to you guys. And not like it how I actually do recommend wizard metal to you guys, and Jason hates that.
Completely hates it.
This one I give you the seal of approval from someone who has no business recommending this to you guys at all. But it was a fantastic concert. I highly recommend it. It's sold out almost everywhere.
So was Flood their first album? Research.
Honestly, I'm not sure because I really listened to just about no other albums from them. I heard a couple songs, and so this band also did the theme song from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
I think that was them. Trying to think.
I think that was them.
They did a few things that you might have heard, and if you are a Tiny Toons fan, or maybe on your local jukebox, if some like alternative nerd person was listening to some shit, they might have put like Particle Man or Istanbul on there and was like freaking out to how good those songs are. But then you probably made fun of him and took his lunch money, so no problem. Because everyone in our audience is very tough and strong. So
you're so tough.
Our audience is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And they're really good looking. They're really good looking.
Handsome.
So that is what I want to say about that. I was a big fan of Flood for who knows what reason, and that concert I highly recommend. That was the first one I saw.
So I just want to break this down real quick.
Yes.
So we're thinking like 33 years. 33 years that the band's been together.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I'm sure.
And they still sounded really good.
It was amazing. They really did. Yeah, their voices didn't tank. I usually pick up if a band is down tuning a lot, if the singers can't hit the notes, and there was no down tuning.
And where was this show at?
This was at Janus Live now it's called, which is a cool outside club in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of it. Yep. So
Besides the Orpheum, it's probably the place I will see most of the concerts over on this side of in the Tampa Bay area. That's where
so
most metal bands will either come through there, or they'll hit this place called the Orpheum, or they will hit one of the bigger venues if they're huge, like Iron Maiden or something.
so with it
Oh,
being outside and everything, you're saying 33 years in the business still sounding good, because I
they
know
sounded great. Yes,
for my experiences in Florida, it was like hard rock, House of Blues, or even the
that's the Orlando
amphitheater,
side. Yep,
or the amphitheater in Tampa, which
yep,
some of the shows I saw there were, I mean, they were still really good. That's good
yep.
quality sound. That's basically what I'm trying to get across, is if we had, you know, no play tracks or nothing like that. Everything sounded pure.
Yep. Yeah, it was very pure. It was fantastic. I honestly I cannot say enough positive things. I didn't recognize most of their songs, which is it's fine. And the music wasn't what I would usually listen to in my radio, streaming or whatever the kids do nowadays. And but other than that, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're the rare fan of alternative rock from the early '90s in our huge subscriber base.
So give us a rating of the show.
Yep.
All in all, like, probably 1 through 10.
So let's see. Aggressive factor, 1 out of 10. Ass kicking, like about 6 or 7 out of 10.
Don't
Honestly, they were
even give
kicking
it
some
those
ass.
6.
I give it that. I give it that for ass kicking. It was kicking ass. It wasn't like literally kicking ass. It was a bunch of very talented musicians doing a great job with their instruments. Yeah, ass kicking factor, probably 1 out of 10. Musicianship was like probably solid 8 to 9 out of 10 for sure.
Okay. All right.
And fun factor, like it was a really fun concert. I give that like a 7 out of 10, even for me not really being a huge fan. Yeah, I'm just inventing these categories on the fly.
Yeah, you are. I simply
yep.
just asked for an overall rating.
We're gonna change it every time I rate one of these two. I'm gonna pick new categories for each one.
I just needed a 1 through 10.
Yeah. Lame ass nerd factor, like 10 out of 10 for sure. Audience members being fucking crazy, 10 out of 10. It was a bunch of weirdos.
Oh, was it?
Not that I'm not a weirdo, but man, oh yeah, there was a bunch of crazy people. There's a bunch of people that were my age or older, and a bunch of little kids. So another thing they Might Be Giants does is they make a lot of children's music. They didn't play any children's music. This was like their actual stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can't remember what the name of that song they did was that it was super famous. They did like one super famous kids song. If you got any kids in your life, I know you've heard this. I just can't remember what it is. And you're sick of it already.
I got
any
a kid in my
song.
life, and I don't even know it. So
It's not Baby Shark, but it was like really popular. So.
Oh my God! Speaking of Baby Shark, my son, he made a good joke about
Baby Shark.
It just tripped me out. Yeah. So 10-year-olds are definitely over the Baby Shark phase, and it's exploded. But enough about that.
Enough about that.
Let's go on to.
I will move on to concert number 2. We're doing these in the order that I saw them.
The most important one.
Yep. So this is the one that Jason wants me to talk about, because it is one of both of our favorite bands. However, they were not the first to go on, so I will not talk about them first, because I'm going to make Jason wait.
Yeah.
The first band I saw that night, the first one was an opener that I can't even remember. They were trash, and they were not really in the right spot. They were kind of like a weird kind of gothic-y glam sort of like really weird ass band. It's not that they were really bad; they just were out of place. And they were fine musicians. Even the singer apologized.
What?
Yeah, he kind of did. He's like, I know we're not really your cup of tea, but man, thanks for being so kind or whatever. I was like, all right, you
can respect
cool. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
And it's not really trash. I'm just being a dick, but
yeah.
It was okay. They were all kind of dressed up a little like what's that? A little glammy maybe. Didn't really fit in. There was supposed to be what was it? Who's the Mushroom Head?
Oh yeah, Mushroom Head. Yeah.
Yeah. They had a technical difficulty with their bus or something and did not make the show. There were supposed to be 4 bands.
I think that's the second time that's happened.
Yeah, so they were not there. So the first band I got to see, I don't know if they were opening or if they would have been like a co-headliner or something, but the first band I saw was Dope, and I don't know shit about Dope.
I do.
Well, they were quite good. They were really fun. It was, kind of like a almost an industrial metal sort of vibe, similar
Yep.
to like Static X. Not as hard ass as Fear
Nope.
Factory, but
And not as hard as Static X even.
not really as hard as Static X. The singer was great. Our secret singer that we know is also singing in Static X. I'm gonna spoil it for you guys.
Spoiler.
And spoiler alert. He was great. I loved his banter with the audience. He got semi-political in a way that was endearing to my heart, which is nice. He said he was very happy to be in Florida, so that's good.
We'll just keep it at that.
For me, we don't. I don't want to offend anyone out there. But yeah, it was really good. The fantastic show. High fucking energy.
How many songs or how long were they on for?
They were on for about 45 minutes.
Really?
Yep.
So they played probably what they have a couple handful of albums.
I think it was about 7-8 songs maybe. And I couldn't tell you what songs. I can probably download a set list for you. I didn't
Die,
recognize
motherfucker,
any of them. I don't
die.
know anything. Oh, they definitely played that one.
That's such a great song.
That was a crowd favorite.
Yes,
it turns out.
yes. That's such a good song.
Yeah.
I love
so
that
for
song.
rating those guys, I give them I didn't really know too much about them. Maybe about 7 out of 10. Pretty solid rating. They're a great band. I just didn't know too much about them, and they weren't like super technical or super aggressive or super like what I usually am into. But they put on a fine show.
Just a good
Happy
metal
to,
band, all in all.
Good metal band all around. I highly approve of them. I think they're great. Definitely check them if you ever get a chance to, especially because they'll probably be touring with Static X conveniently enough. I'm sure they will be.
It's so weird
to make things easy.
It's just crazy. Those guys are going to be making money hand over fist.
Well, they're essentially all incestuous with their band members. So
Yep.
so this is the second band that is incestuous with a band member, and I think it's time to actually discuss this. Is Jason and I one of our favorite
all time,
bands. Fear Factory. Finally got to see them. The last time I saw Fear Factory was with Jason, in fact, in 2010.
Yeah,
2010,
it was
something like that.
Yep.
It was on the Mechanize tour, and Mechanize is probably tied for my favorite Fear Factory album with The Manufacturer.
Probably,
and
yeah. Just that
tour
better.
And that lineup was so fucking good.
So good.
It's one of the might be my favorite band. Like that lineup right there.
Yep.
So good. And that show was so good.
So
This
good.
show, quite different. Now,
here's where I get depressed.
I don't want to say that it was bad, because it was not. It was very, very good. They're very, very talented musicians. They did, in my opinion, they did justice to that material. They really did. They really did. They made it sound great.
Okay.
They made it sound great. They really did. Sounded really good. I noticed a couple things that were a little shoddy about the performance, like the drummers, who's a really good drummer, his bass drum triggers were a little bit
I was gonna say
a little like choppy.
I think you're giving him a little
good.
too much credit, but go on.
Well, no, I'm not saying he's bad. He was good. I really watched everybody. He's good.
Yeah.
But the problem when you use drum triggers is they have to be perfectly tuned, perfectly calibrated, or else you get either mistriggering or miss hits and that the bass drums don't fire, or you get like double taps and stuff like that. You get that kind of shit, and it's not good. I remember when I was triggering drum kits back in the day, like you have to really get that shit dialed in, or else you're just sounding like flood, like your bass drums sound bursty. Whereas Fear Factory, you need your bass drums to sound perfectly aligned. They need to sound like robotic and quantized. They need to be absolutely perfect. You need a drummer like, for example, Gene Hoglan,
the man
who was playing drums in Fear Factory back when they were like perfect, with a perfect lineup.
Oh,
that
God.
is a damn shame that they couldn't maintain that lineup. But in this case, that was a little shoddy. The singer was quite good. We discussed this on our private podcast that is available to our Patreon subscribers before, and Jason brought up, I think, this very good point, is that it makes me feel weird when he says like we and us and stuff like that when he's referring to the old material. It's not. He's just not there yet. Like, it's one. All right, so. Supposing you're the bass player for Metallica and you're Rob Trujillo, who is a fantastic bass player.
Absolutely,
by the way,
I agree. Yep.
So when he says we, he has been in Metallica longer than any other bass player and has been in the band for like 20 years now.
Holy shit,
All
he
right.
has.
Right, he has. So when he says we and he's referring to Metallica, like, all right, man, you could do that. No fucking
I mean,
problem.
you could
No
even do
issue.
the same thing with Kiss and
Yeah.
what is it,
Like that
Eric?
kind of
Yeah,
shit. You
yeah,
could do
absolutely.
that.
Yep.
But this dude he's obviously real young. When he says we and stuff like that, I get a little weirded out by that. It is off putting. That was a very valid point that you made before when he says stuff like that. But what else? Well, honestly, what do I expect him to do? I expect him to do what he did, and he puts on a great show. He's got a ton of energy. He manages his own effects, which is very interesting.
He's highly trained. I mean, to be fair.
He's a really good singer. Like he sounded great. Little bit questionable at times, but only because that stuff's really hard to sing. And look what Burton.
Hey,
Bell
Bert.
did.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he had a couple bad nights too. But when he was good,
when he was
really
on,
good.
he was fucking on.
I will say, like in terms of vocal qualities, Burton had like a heavierness to his voice.
Yep.
Than this dude did. It's like a real guttural, like monstrous kind of sound where. This dude's still a little raw with it, and like doesn't really have that. So this dude, all right.
Milo, right?
I wanna, yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk to our audience out there who doesn't know this about vocals and vocal distortion and vocal fry and stuff like that. Because a lot of people like they hear it, but they don't really understand what's going on in like the voice as the voice is doing that. So, and this is the good and the bad of Burton C. Bell. Okay. I'm pretty darn sure, has never received a vocal lesson in his life.
Didn't need it.
He just basically clenches everything down on his midsection and roars at the audience. All right, he puts it all out there, all with no sense of restraint to it at all. Which is why he kind of sounds like dog shit live now today with a lot of his recent stuff. He blows his voice out.
Be careful with the dog shit comment.
All right, I'm not saying dog shit, but the start of a concert versus the end of the concert for him are very different voices. He blows his voice out because he doesn't have this to sing like that. It's a very like fine sort of push and pull with the stuff inside your
vocal
cords.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the vocal cords and the things that are like compressing the air and stuff like that. It's a real battle of like damaging your voice sounding good. Like you really have to be very careful with that. And this kid has a lot of training.
Yes.
The problem with that is you don't get that real over the top sound that we all want. The real
emotion too.
And which is like I don't want to take any credit from like the real like pro singers that can do that and have trained to do it properly. Like for example, like the girl that sings in Arch Enemy, Alyssa White Gluz.
Okay.
She is like she's very well trained now. It's a girl voice that's distorted.
Oh yeah, let's not get carried away.
She knows exactly how to do that, and it sounds fine, but it's not.
You would go with the girl
okay.
from the lead singer from OTEP. You can go from like when you're going.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with it. OTEP that much. I think I've heard a little bit of them, honestly.
Oh my god,
I probably like them, but
yeah. Oh,
I just haven't been exposed.
So like, I mean, but with what you're saying right there is like the trained voice.
Yeah.
You mentioned Arch Enemy, OTEP. I would even go as far because I do want to get this into this real quick because I haven't done it. I think throughout all of our episodes, our 1,700, no, our 6 episodes or whatever. Maria Brink, and in this moment,
I don't know who that is.
In this moment, yeah, I absolutely love that band, and to the point where it's almost the same equivalent as Fear Factory.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, when you listen to their whole repertoire and her voice, I mean, they started it back in 2005, I believe it was, and they're still going strong. The age only gotten better. Just kind of goes back to our Machine Head quick conversation. How throughout the 90s, you didn't like Machine Head.
Yeah,
they weren't your thing.
and I was never really like, and I just never followed up with him after I heard him. I was like, yeah, it's okay, but never really like, never dove in. Yeah.
In This Moment has kept me throughout this whole time, just like Machine Head did. I was always a Machine Head fan, and
Yep.
in 2012, I became a bigger fan. 2018, 2019, when they got the new drummer, when you saw them, you even like them now. You're like, holy shit, what have I been missing
Oh,
out
yeah.
on? They've always
Yep.
been good, bro.
Yep.
So
That last album, and when I saw them live, I was like, this is fucking good. Like, this is solid fucking band right here.
I
was like,
listened.
yes.
I listened to some of that
Absolutely,
new
absolutely.
stuff, and I was like, oh, it is heavier. It is
Yeah,
heavier.
it's good, man. I don't know if they got a new drummer. I think
Yeah,
you said,
they
and
got a
like
new
that
drummer.
dude was like not bad. That same thing happened to Sepultura, man. And
Yes,
that,
exactly. And same thing with In This Moment. They got
Yep.
a new drummer, and they just the heaviness factor. I don't know what drummers
Hey,
make.
put some life into the fucking band, man.
Let's put
Yeah.
some fucking respect on drummers because they
Oh,
can
yeah,
make or
yeah.
break you. Going back to Fear Factory, you said
It
the
makes or breaks you.
drummer. The drummer he's good, but he's not Gene Hoglan.
He ain't fucking Gene, man. And like the real problem with the trigger problem was real. I really don't want to take anything away from that drummer. Like, he's quite a good drummer, and plus I know he's not their regular drummer, which is also another thing that kind of irks me. Is
They
like,
don't have a regular drummer.
they don't have a regular drummer. The bass player is doubling as the Static X bass player, but he is a permanent member of Fear Factory. I
Oh,
think
is
that
he?
That is real. I think he is. And he's fine. He's fine bass player.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
He's got good stage presence stuff. He's big
Big
dude.
boy, yeah, big boy,
Big
yeah.
boy. He's
Yeah.
awesome. Dino is the only like constant member who hasn't even been a constant member. There's 2 albums without him in the middle.
Yes,
But-
yes, yep.
All right. So Dino's guitar playing is immaculate. He's absolutely immaculate. He
Yep.
he is the king of doing that style of riffing.
That
man. He's
industrial.
perfect. He is
Yeah.
a machine, dude. He's an absolute machine.
He absolutely is.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was awesome. He was flawless too. He's flawless. I'm an asshole. I look at everything, and he was fucking flawless.
So let's go back to Milo and his vocals.
All right, Milo and his vocals. He just doesn't have as much aggression as I want in there. Like, he doesn't, but he's really good though. Like, I don't want to take anything away from him. It's just, and I don't even want to say that this gig is inappropriate for him because he does fine with it. He does. And I'm not sure there's like a better person, and I'm like really nostalgic for Burton C. Bell. So, I think it's just it's probably for the best. At least Fear Factory gets to tour, and I got to go to a Fear Factory concert, which I would highly recommend you do. So maybe that's what my takeaway from it is.
When
You should see this.
when you looked at Milo, did you see BCB?
It's even the same haircut.
It is exactly. So like that's what I'm saying. Did you
he's like a
see
young
BCB?
Like, he's really going for that, man. He's really going for it, and he did a lot of like the BCB nuance stuff
Oh,
with
yes.
the. So like when BCB does all the stuff live, like over the time, like if you've watched him over the last fucking 30 years, like some songs he puts kind of his own little spin on them when he
Yep.
does them live.
Yep.
Like, that dude was doing all those kind of spins, and
So-
I was like,
Yeah.
I like he's really trying to give the fans, I think, what they want. It's just, it's really hard. Like,
It's so hard.
And I'm an old guy, fucking stand there just like scowling.
Yes. Yep. That would be me.
know,
Yep.
being an asshole about it.
So
But it was a really good show, man. It really was. They did really good, all things considered. My gripe with those bass drums actually, I think, is real, and I'm gonna dock them points for that bullshit. But I'm gonna give him a high score. Honestly, I really am. Like, playing that material, I love those songs so much, and he didn't sound bad enough that I'm angry. You know?
I mean that's
doesn't.
it. I've watched enough videos to sit there and be like, okay, this show he sounded like shit. This show he sounded really fucking good. With the Orlando show, I haven't gotten enough audio.
Yep. I'll
feedback.
put some stuff. I recorded Power Shifter. I recorded because I know that's me and Jason's one of our favorite tunes, as you may have noticed from the intro to our
maybe our
to
intro.
our shit here. I recorded that one. I can't remember what else I recorded. I got some clips of it. I made sure to do that just to make sure that Jason can see it. I'm gonna put those up on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna give this one. All right, so we're gonna have to rate these things like aggression factor, 10 out of 10. I fucking love Fear Factory.
Yeah.
Musicianship was really high, except the damn bass drums. Man, they were too bursty, and I'm like the biggest fucking double bass like fanatic. I love that shit so much.
So much.
So like to hear it not be perfect is like,
Right.
you know, and all the clips. Like if you're watching these clips online, like you can hear it, and it's like it really is annoying because I've heard it all through these concerts, starting with like the first couple, because I'm a real like I really listen for that.
Same
and you can hear it. It's just not perfect, and it's not perfect in a way. Just with all the experience I've had with triggers, it doesn't sound like the drummer's fucking up. It sounds like it's mistriggering.
It's just off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit off, and I don't really want to blame the drummer for it, though ultimately who else are you gonna blame, right? But I think it's whoever set up the damn triggers,
exactly.
You know, which I assume like should be him. Like if you're a guy who's running with triggers, you should be the guy that set them up. You know?
I mean, with the 3 shows,
Yeah,
that
you got to take
together. I mean, it's been the same thing, so it's got to be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's something like that. That I'm docking points off of that. I'm docking points because I'm old. And I miss Burton C. Bell.
Yeah,
so sorry.
You. Yes, okay. All right,
sorry, fuck you.
Yep.
All right.
Milo, fuck you is what he's saying.
I'm giving back like half as many points just because I really like this kid. I think he's very talented. I think he really is. He sounds great too. He really does. So I'm still taking away shit because he's not the guy I want him to be.
So I would, and this is based off of what I've heard. I would only dock points off of Milo not being Burton.
Right
during the chorus when he gets that real high, like his accent really comes out, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, because he's from Rome, Italy, man.
Yeah, and so like you can he does do a decent enough job at hitting that higher like note, but but when you hear his accent,
sounds a little weird.
You're like, this is not Burton. This is not.
It's because he's not the guy I want him to be. He's not. Well, he's not the guy my brain is expecting to hear.
Yes,
and that's causing the cognitive dissonance or whatever in my head. It's like I'm expecting something and it's not quite right. So it's more like musical uncanny valley.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes,
it's like it's close, but it's not quite.
But
right,
it's not there because you hear the little nuances.
Yep. Yeah. So to give you a rating system here, I will give this quite a high rating, honestly. Fear Factory. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me talk about the third band, and then I'll rate the whole show.
Oh yeah.
And I'll give you a rundown. So the third, or technically the fourth band, Static X. Man, they sounded great. The coolest thing about Static X is honestly the fucking singer and his costume. All right, so Static X was always really fun, and I really liked Wisconsin Death Trip.
Such a good album.
I don't really consider them like a super like I don't want to say like talented because I think they're talented. It's just not like technical, you know.
No, it's techno.
Crazy metal.
It's like techno metal.
No, it's not technical. It's like it's just like kind of like party rock a little bit, kind of like like. Yeah, like I don't want to take anything away from them because I love Static X, especially Wisconsin Death Trip.
And Wayne Static and everything.
And Wayne Static was awesome. He was so freaking cool, that dude.
So cool.
Well, this tribute thing that they've got going on, where they put Edsel Dope from Dope, so spoiler alert, in a costume and put him out there and have him sing, like he's great, and that costume is so awesome. He's got like red Terminator eyes, and this giant like fucking like steel wool fucking like pompadour on his head. It's awesome. It's so cool looking. You should see him just to see like him kick ass, man. And he's awesome. He's he really pulls off the Wayne Static thing. I think he's paying a hell of a tribute. Yeah, he's trying to be like a robot version of Wayne Static.
Oh, that's
awesome. Kind of like their gimmick. It's so he's like a Terminator version of Wayne Static. It's
super
so cool.
Fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were kind of like, I don't want to say the original of like we're just gonna go out and perform anyway, even though like the lead guys are passed away.
Yeah.
They're kind of the first one to really like, let's see if this works kind of thing.
Right.
And they did it. They did it in time with the Wisconsin Death Trip anniversary, so everybody's like, "Yeah, we fucking love that album."
Yes.
So they did it. They were as maximally respectful about it.
Yep.
The dude even denied being the singer. He's like,
yeah, he did. He did.
He went really far out of his way to deny it. He's like, "Look, I don't want to take any credit for this. We're just here to pay tribute."
Yes.
And I was like, "That's great, man. That was great." Static X was really, really good. And So I want to talk about a big problem, though. I do have a big
Uh-oh.
problem I want to discuss with all of our international audience and our local audience and all of our Patreon subscribers. I want to
Uh-oh.
talk to you guys.
Serious time.
There's gonna be some guys out there that are young adults like Jason and I in their 40s.
Okay, yeah.
Young
Old man.
spry adults with high that are really kicking ass in spite of our numbers. But here's the thing: I want to provide a warning to all of you guys out there that are in your 40s that think you are still fucking in shape enough to attend one of these concerts.
Yes.
So that show, we saw people getting dragged away by fucking paramedics. Well, I saw like just people falling over, passing out. So here's what happens. All right. So supposing you're like, because we were kind of young when Fear Factory came out. We were like in high school. Like we were like teenagers.
Yeah. We were
But
teenagers.
there were people in like their 20s and 30s when Fear Factory came out, and they still love Fear Factory.
Absolutely.
And they came out and they think that they can kick ass like they're in their 20s. And by kicking ass, I mean like fighting and moshing and dancing around, drinking heavily, and smoking weed, all mixed up. And that shit does not work, and your cardiovascular health cannot support that. And this was an example of this. We saw just people, person after person, losing their shit. There was even a protein spill incident where let's just say that someone got thrown up on. It was nasty, and like it's bad. It was anyway. It was very rough night for us boomers out there, thinking we still got fucking that we're still in shape and we can still kick ass like we did in our 20s and 30s, man. Because absolutely fucking not. People need to check themselves because it was like scary for these guys because they were getting pulled out left and right.
Where was
not good for
where
them.
was this show at?
This was at this place called the Plaza, and it was it's kind of in sort of downtownish Orlando.
Oh, so that's a small venue, isn't it?
Yeah, and it did sell out. But here's the trick with this venue. All right, it used to have seats in it. All right.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they pulled all the seats out, but what they didn't do is level the floor. So the floor is on a slope, a big old slant. People could not handle that, man. They could not handle that shit. Falling over, picking people up, man. It's because these bands were big in the 90s, and everyone remembers how cool we all were in the 90s when we got
nostalgia is so real.
Yeah, it's so. I want to provide a warning to dudes out there that are our age. Like, please check your fitness level if you're gonna go attend one of these shows and go fucking ham out there. If you're gonna combine weed and alcohol, like you better know what you're doing because that shit'll make you dizzy as fuck. And if you're on a
something I used to do when I was in that age
so
where
careful.
It was great. Not something I would do now. In the 40s.
Be careful, man. You hit the 40s, things work a little differently. And if you're a Fear Factory fan, you either found them at it recently, or you're a fan that's probably in their 40s.
Back in the day. So with that,
please be careful. All right. So should I rate this thing now? We need to give this one a rating, or what do you think's next?
No. I think we got to give Fear Factory their proper rating, and I don't think. I'm sure there's more to add to it. I'm really sure there's more questions.
Yeah, I
can
probably talk more.
But
ask your question below, and we will follow up. In the
absolutely. But with the Static X, I will ask this because I want you to rate Fear Factory, then Static X, then the whole show.
Okay, I can rate them differently too. For sure.
Static X, a lot of Wisconsin Death Trip or everything.
Yes. Not everything, but it was a ton. All the hits off of that one. And there's like 5 of them.
Have they played their new stuff? Because they did make a new album with that guy.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure. I didn't
listen. That's fair. Actually, listen to their newest album because it's pretty damn good. It's heavy. It's pretty. They still sound like Static X, but check it out.
I will check it out. And I love Static X. So we'll break it down. So, and there was actually a good amount of the Static X show that I wasn't able to see due to an incident related to some jackhole who's in over his fucking head.
Did you not punch him in the face?
Oh well, it wouldn't have done anything because he was already faded like super bad and had to be like removed and put on his side, and he was like a giant dude in his fucking 60s, and
Oh,
it was really bad for him.
oh,
That like
so
life was punching that dude in the face, man. There's nothing I could hit him with that life hadn't already hit him
oh,
with.
okay, that's
So he
fair.
was
All
having
right.
a real bad night.
Uh,
So, but I won't hold that against the concert, though. I will hold that against all the dudes out there that don't. So that's why I gave that PSA out there. And he wasn't the only one that was like just had to be removed. People were like, they were really not able to maintain the level of energy that they did back in their 20s, man.
so
It was
then
not
to
cool.
go on to
Okay.
that real quick,
Yep.
like I know, like for example, House of Blues 2010,
Hmm.
we would
Yep.
mosh, we moshed.
Yep.
It was slam
Then we go
dancing.
back to our spots. Yeah.
Exactly, like it. We moshing. Certain places have like
I give
certain
them a song or
rules.
two, but I'm not doing it the whole concert, man. Like
Exactly.
that's what we did back then, and
Right.
we were,
Exactly.
10 years ago.
But like,
Yep.
is it where the venues now still have those certain rules, or are people just trying to throw fucking bows and like elbows or is it just like
Um.
actually like slamming like it's supposed to be?
Okay. Well, let me. I will say everything is kind of different, and I can go back and talk about this. So, for example, at the They Might Be Giants concert, there really wasn't any moshing,
No, of course not.
but at the Dope Fear Factory and Static X concert, there was tons of it, and mostly the young kids were just swirling the whole time.
Oh,
You
that
know,
wall of
like
death thing, huh?
like there was no organized shit like at an Amon Amarth concert. Like no one's rowing. Like it wasn't really like super organized. But like when a song came out that you knew everybody knew, like everybody fucking went crazy, and that shit would happen. And like the smart boomers would like settle down when like
Back
in
up.
between songs and we back up a little bit. You leave the kids to do that kind of shit, or you like stand at the wall and you make sure like no one gets past you. You just kind of chill and you can do the occasional that thing. That's what us old guys are there for. We should do that. Or you stand more to the back. So anyway, there was I think at every place they have rules that say like no, you can't do this, but everybody still does it anyway.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So all right, so let's go down the ratings. Dope was really good. That solid 7 out of 10.
Okay,
Solid.
yeah, I'll give you that.
All right, Fear Factory. I want to give a pretty darn high rating to. I think it was great. Honestly, it really was. It was great. And I do hold them accountable for the bass drum issue. I'm getting docking them a whole point. For Burton C. Bell not being there, I was gonna dock him like 5 points.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that because we're doing this out of 10. That's not fair. And then I'm bringing some points back up because Milo was so good, Dino was so good, like the sound was really good, like that kind of shit. So I'm gonna probably give this concert like I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna give him that. It's not the
One more
Fear
time?
Factory that you. I'm gonna give him like a 7.5 out of 10. It's not the Fear Factory you
Wow.
remember. It's like the best Fear Factory cover band you'll ever see, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seven
Oh,
and a half.
I deduct fucking points for those damn bass drums.
No, I know.
I'm docking points for that. It's really that pisses me off.
Wow.
For real, it is. Yep.
Whoa.
That's what I'm giving them.
I need a second.
But
here.
it's worth seeing. You'll never see Fear Factory again. This is what you get, and it's worth seeing.
But-
But you're gonna have like it's gonna be a little itchy for you. You're gonna be a little itchy.
7.5.
7.5.
When
Giving
we
them that.
know, we know. So I know 20. It's like 13 years ago. We wouldn't. 13 years ago, we would
Fear
obviously give
Factory's
them a
10.
10.
I was
yeah.
10.
It
10
was
out of 10
10 plus
for that concert.
So
10.
they're
Yeah,
dropping
easily.
that much.
Oh yeah, I'm dropping them for sure. Yeah, they're getting dropped.
That's something.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
I'm
I
dropping
would.
them, but I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying you should go. You should absolutely go. But you're not going to get a 10 out of 10 vibe out of this. You're not going to walk away saying this was amazing, especially not if you're my age and you're a big Fear Factory fan. You're not going to get that. But you should go see it.
Oh.
You should. Yep,
All right.
I'm giving it
All
that.
right. Let's go. Move
Yep.
on to Static X.
Yep. Static X, I'm giving them a higher rating. I think, like, yeah, I think I'm giving them like an 8. I think.
Whoa!
Yeah. I'm giving them higher than Fear Factory. Yeah, they were great. Like their shit
What
was
is
locked in tight.
happening?
The singer was fucking flawless. They had shit. They brought this big giant platform on stage. The dude was on it. It was a hell of a fucking show, man. It was a great time. Seriously. And you know what's even crazier is I don't even look at that as a Static X cover band like I do Fear Factory. Like I don't. Like even though it's not even Wayne Static. Like that was
Oh,
Static X to me.
well,
Like I'm sorry, I'm giving it higher.
it is Static X now, and
Because it is.
and that's just the thing. They
Yep.
have done everything right, and actually going back to that Fear Factory thing, but finishing with Static X, they did everything right with the tribute, with
Yep.
saying, "Hey, we still honor our brother." Now,
Yep.
with that,
That is not the case with Fear Factory. at
exactly,
all.
yes, yes,
Not even close. Not even close. Even like and Dino Cazares, great guitar player. He's got a really bad fucking attitude.
So
He
I
does.
just
Like you hear him in interviews, like
yeah,
he's a dick.
yeah, I just heard
And
an interview recently
He
where
is. He will shit talk fucking Burton.
Yeah,
Burton C. Bell.
yeah.
He shit talks the old guys that were in the band. And all this kind of stuff.
the
All right,
people that
before they-
made him.
Before they did Archetype, which was so he said, I told everybody I was never going to play this song, live ever because he obviously didn't
Yeah,
write
he
it.
wasn't a part
He
of
wasn't
it.
in the band for it, but he's like, but fuck it or whatever, and it's like, and then he played it. It's like, I mean, like,
That's kind of a shitty move.
I realize you are resentful of this shit. Like I know you do, but man, like you don't let that out. Like you seem like a giant baby. Like don't do it. Don't do it. Be a fucking pro, man. And like
That might drop
anyway.
him down to a 7 now. You didn't even tell me that.
Yeah, you're right. I should have brought that up because that stuck with me, dude. I was like, it's kind of a fucking.
That's
then
a
he was- and then-
dick move.
And then you know what else he said? And I didn't even think that this would rub me the wrong way, but it kind of did, and I can't really explain exactly why. When they're doing the introductions, he called Milo. He's like, we used to call him the Kid, and now we call him the Italian Stallion because he got his first taste of American pussy. And I was like,
Oh,
man, fuck you, fuck you. You guys are assholes. You're a giant cock. Fuck you. And normally I don't give a shit about that. I'm like, say whatever, dude. You can say F words, P words. I don't
Yeah,
give a
yeah,
shit.
exactly,
Like, it's all good to me, man. But I was like,
it just rubbed you wrong,
I'm
huh?
offended, and I don't get offended by anything. Like none of that shit never fucking bothers me. I was just like, fuck you. That kid's like 20.
I think he's like 24 or some shit like that.
that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Oh my god, that is hilarious.
So I'm giving him 7.5.
No, drop
Seriously.
it down to a 7 now.
No, I'm not dropping it. It's still awesome. Like it really was awesome, genuinely, and you should see it. It should be seen.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
anyone who has the opportunity should and see it because the show is overall like the show is incredible. Like it's a great lineup. Static X is great. Dope. I had no idea what to expect, and they were great.
I do.
So-
I like Dope.
Yep.
Yeah, it
So,
does
yeah.
sound like a good lineup, man. All right,
It was a great lineup. Yep.
All right, way to go,
So-
Mike.
All right. Since we're
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a little sign off. We'll come back with the next 2 concerts
all right.
next week's episode. So this will be us.
Actually, one more concert.
It was
I only did
okay.
3 of them.
Well, then we could then after that we could go back and we could start talking some wrestling, some college ball because hey, we got March Madness.
Oh, yeah. I would like
And-
to talk about that too. It was pretty
Oh.
eventful so far.
Man, let me tell. I've lost some money on it. It's so
I'll bet you
exciting.
did. That was a bracket buster, man.
Yeah.
Like, the 16-1 fucking
Yeah.
fiasco, the second time it happened in history.
Ah.
All gamblers be damned. You all lost your fucking asses on that.
we will talk about that in the next episode.
All right.
So until then, peace out, guys.